characters most strongly with wisdom and heroism. Of course, love and fame, kindness were also mentioned, but less. If you talk about the second figure, and they are most frequently linked to love and heroism too. But this three was mentioned less. And if you talk about overall, the difference may reflect the culture values embedded in each literature edition. Cousin literature often highlights intellectual wisdom, if you see, as you see, but English literature is like they only focus more on romance and adventure. The next page. And I asked them multiple questions like that. What kind of person do you imagine when you hear this name? Does the name sound strong or gentle to you? Do you think this name would belong to a hero or a leader or an ordinary person? The next page. And it was the result of this. It was a result on answers of my students, and I think we are running out of time. I will go to the suggestions. My suggestion for the people, or for the professors maybe, yes, I cannot change something, but it was my idea. But while working with students, it was observed that they still need supplementary information in the literature section, because in 8th grade there are such sections in Unit 5. You can see there is a unit about the literature. And I will, as you see, this is a new book. And there's a QR code, oh my god, sorry. I really want to add me and my supervisor, we really want to integrate my work into this page as a QR code. Because this my proposal. My proposal is grounded on the information provided by the website of Real Design National Academy of Education, which says that new school textbooks will be introduced in the 2026 and the 27 academic year. And I was like, oh my god, it's time to present my work. It's time to make my project work and give the positive results. And next page. And this is a QR code. And the people and the students will scan the QR code from the book. And it will be a methodological tool as a supplementary information. It's not. It will be a methodological tool for the teachers. Whether they like it or not, it's their choice. And in this video, questions, something like that.
Compare the meaning of the main character names and advise solely and Oliver Twist. Abide, Kazak means careful, valuable, or wise. The name reflects his reflective nature and intellectual.
To understand the differences between the names.
Intentionally chose Twist to symbolize the choices of fate and the child's unexpected life journey. But both Abide and Oliver are the main protagonists. Each name becomes a symbol of virtue and humanity within their worlds.
In this video, we conduct some exercise. Yes. They can be multiple choice questions or matching.
2. Oliver Twist was born into a wealthy English family. 3. Both Abide and Oliver represent kindness and honesty in their societies. 4. The story provides.
You can choose the questions. So let's conclude. Cult names, in conclusion, cult names are not just identifiers or just words. They are key to unlocking the culture's traits, their social status, or even their role within the narrative. In short, they are not just words, they are living symbols in the culture and historical meaning of the literature or even the narrative. So that concludes my presentation. Thank you for your attention. Any questions?
I have a thank you. So, good job.
Thank you so much.
What was your aim? Just say it was a whole.
Oh, okay. I really want to present it. Okay, I tend to analyze the culture, historical, and linguistic meaning of character names in both literature and examine their role within the narrative and compare them. That's it.
How do the names of Kazakh literary poets, heroes reflect their personality or destiny?
How can you repeat that?
Yes, I repeat. How do the names of Kazakh literary heroes, for example, Baujan Momshova, reflect their personality or destiny?
Okay. So,
Today,
it works.
we spoke about Baujan Momshova.
Yeah. Okay, I'll leave it. It works symbolism. And when you hear this name, you will imagine someone who is brave, who is big, who is very someone who is who is very confident, I would say, right? So it works symbolically. Bauer, right? It's like you will imagine this person, and you automatically think about it, and you cannot think about the negative one, right?
Okay. What's the scientific novelty of your work?
So what?
Scientific novelty.
Scientific novelty.
Novelty?
Yes.
General.
Okay. Everyone, when they are reading a novel, they always neglect the character names. When I was a big fan of Robert Nomad and Sidney Foley, Charles Dickens, and Agatha Christie. And when I was working with this narratives, I suddenly thought like, why did they choose a specific name? And I noticed that everyone neglects to the blind eye to the character names. Why did the author choose a specific name? And I was like, oh, I will explore it, and then spread this theme to the world. That's it.
This is a scientific research work. You should just name your scientific novel. The first one is after with the old words. Hiç umursuzdan жоқ olanlar, eğimde жоқ olanlar. Ya, неге оны koymayсыз? Сөзбен айтасыз да, но ғылыми сөздер жоқ бұл жақта. Содан кейін сұрақ туындап жатыр сізге. What about hypothesis of your research work?
Hypothesis.
I didn't work on this. Can you explain it?
Гипотеза. Қандай гипотеза шығардыңыз басында, жұмыстың басында, мысалы, ғылыми жұмыстың жазған кезде гипотеза қояды. Дұрыс па? Гипотезаны нужно подтвердить. Да, я подтверждаю, что вот я ставила такую гипотезу. Ладно? Важна гипотеза.
Гипотеза жоқ болса.
Жұмыс.
Да, ол ғылыми ақпарат түгел емес деген ғой. Хорошо.
Ну,
Ладно, жақсы, өте жақсы қойғанымыз. Өз-өзіміз көрсетіп
произношение хорошее.
Okay. This is my question.
Келмеген бар. Шекспирдің қазіргі ағылшын әдебиетінің ықпалы. Тағы бұл жерде жоқ біздің бар еді. Бар мен көрейін.
Application зайшын ашсам болады.
Өткенде қайда берсе болады?
Жоқ, бізде ол қайда берсеңіздер болады. Иә, пожалуйста.
Сәлеметсіздер ме әдебиет жазушылар мен тыңдаушылар. Менің толық аты жөнім Темірбек Ануар. Мен 63 орта мектебінде білім аламын. Менің негізгі тақырыбым Шекспирдің қазіргі ағылшын әдебиетіне ықпалы. Мен бұл жобаны таңдау себебім мен қазақтар қатты өңіргеннен кейін маған басқа елдердің тарихы қатты қызық болды. Сондықтан мен осы бүкіл әлемге танымал ағылшын тілінің Уильям Шекспир атты драматургына қатты қызықтым. Солай мен осы зерттеуімді бастадым. Менің осы жобадағы ең басты негізгі міндетім ол осы Уильям Шекспирдің ағылшын тіліне деген қосқан үлесі. Яғни оның көптеген шыдасқан шығармалары мен олардың көптеген драма және тағы да басқа шығармалардың еңбектерін осы қалай жазылғанын көрдім. Менің зерттеуімнің өзектілігі, яғни бұл зерттеуде өте өзекті болған қазіргі дамыған технология дамыған заманда осы классикалық әдебиеттің қазіргі таңда өзекті тақырыптары осы Шекспирдің шығармаларында қамтылады. Зерттеудің жаңалығы біздің әдеби сол уақыттағы әдеби классикалық әдебиетте осы дәстүрлі әдебиетті қазіргі технологиямен ұштастыру болады. Келесі. Яғни айта кеткенде осы Шекспирдің қосқан үлестері және де сөз жазғандық қабілеттері өте мықты болған. Оларға мына 5 нәрселерді келтірсек болады. Қосу, жұрнақ, қосымша жалпы сөз табын өзгерту, кірме сөздер және де дыбысты бейнелеу. Осы сөздер арқылы Уильям Шекспир бізде 2000-нан аса сөзі құрап және де сөз құрап осы шығармаларында осы маңызды сөздерді қолданған. Бұл сөздер жасау қазіргі таңда өте бай болып саналады, себебі әрбір елдің сөз қорын дамыту ол көп адамның қолына келеді. Шекспир шығармаларында бүгінге дейін өзек тақырыптар. Ол Шекспир өмір сүрген дәуір бізде өте баяғы заманда болғандықтан қазіргі таңға дейін ол әлі біздер оқырмандар мен тыңдаушылардың жүрегін жылап келеді. Себебі ол жақта өте маңызды тақырыптар, өзек тақырыптар қамтылған. Яғни адам сезімі, оның жан дүниесі және барлығы осы Уильям Шекспирдің еңбектерін жазылған болатын. Және олардың бірін алып қарастырып, яғни билік тақырыбын. Мен осы Шекспирді таңдаған себебім, мен оның Ричард деген кітабын оқыдым. Және де ол маған өте қызықты болды. Және де ол жерде билік тақырыбы қамтылды. Оның маңызды жақтары, яғни билікке қол жеткізген кейіпкерлердің өзін билік уақытысында қалай көрсететінін, және де осы елді қалай дамытатынын, және де оның көмекшісі оған қалай сол билікті дамытудағы жолын қалай оңай ашатыны айтылған. Біздің практикалық бөлімде мен Bullfire платформасын құрастырып, осы жаңадан платформа құрастырдым. Ол жерде біз көптеген кітаптар және де тапсырмалар көрсетіп қалдық. Осы практикалық бөлімде Bullfire платформасы арқылы осындай бір оқушыларға және өзінің достарыма арналған платформа жасап шығардым. Ол платформада көптеген Уильям Шекспирдің кітаптары мен ағылшын деңгейін көтеретін көптеген тапсырмалар қамтылған. Және де осы платформаны көптеген мағынашыл ойындар ойнағанша осы платформамен өз ағылшын деңгейімді көтерген жақсы. Қорытындылай келе, мен Уильям Шекспирдің осы бүкіл зерттеулерін, бүкіл шығармаларын, еңбектерін зерттедім. Және де Уильям Шекспирден қазақ әдебиеті ағылшын әдебиеті деген қосқан үлесі өте мықты болды. Себебі ол көптеген сөздіктер шығарды, шығармалар шығарды, және де оның қазіргі күнге дейін еңбектері өте өзекті тақырыптар қамтуда. Оны оқыған әрбір жанның ішінде өте күшті сезім қалады. Және де барлығыңызға кеңес беремін.
Осы ғылыми жолдан жазуда қандай еңбек қолдандыңыз? Және де оның ішінде ең маңызды үш ойлаңыз.
Ғылыми жоба.
Қандай ғалымдардың еңбегіне тоқталыңыз бар?
Яғни осы біздің Уильям Шекспирдің зерттеулеріне, осы шығармаларына, еңбектеріне қызыққан ғалымдардың осы шығармалар болды.
Мақсат қандай жұмыстың?
Жұмыстың мақсаты ма? Осы Уильям Шекспирдің ағылшын әдебиетіне деген қосқан үлесі. Яғни осы сөз жасалған Уильям Шекспир.
Қандай зерттеу жұмыстарды көрдіңіз?
Зерттеу жұмысында, яғни Уильям Шекспирдің көптеген шығармаларын оқып, осы сөз жасаудың қабілеттерін көріп, сол өзекті тақырыптарды, қандай өзекті тақырыптар бар екенін сол шығармалар арқылы көрдім.
Ғылыми жұмысыңыздың міндеттерін ұстаныңызшы, және сол міндеттерді қолданыңыз бар ма?
Негізгі ғылыми жобаның міндеттері осы. Яғни айта кеткендей, осы ғылыми жобаның Уильям Шекспирдің ағылшын тіліне қосқан үлесі, яғни осы сөз жасаудың қабілеттер, бірақ бұл жерде қандай сөздер қолданылғаны, жасалғаны дұрыс көрсетілмеген, бірақ алдағы уақытта қосыламыз.
Алдағы уақытта жұмысқа жалғасу, иә,
жұмысқа
жалғастыру. Сол рахмет екенсіз. Отырыңыз.
Good morning, dear jury. My name is Adele. The topic of the investigation is Scandinavian French borrowings used to the work by Shakespeare. The source of culture is language because it's a part of the development in recited language through culture. Language is a factor that represents the changing cultural identity of many groups and social links to the culture transferred from generation to generation. Borrowed words have been called the millstones of philology, said Jesperson, because they show us to fix a very stable dates of linguistic changes. They show us the course of civilization and give us information of the nations. The well-known linguist Sucher said, no language is entirely word, that all languages are mixed. Borrowed words enter the language as a result of the use of two main causes of factors. The first one is linguistic and the second one is extra-linguistic. And we have chosen the topic of the investigation Scandinavian French borrowings used in the poem by Shakespeare. Borrowed words from the Scandinavian and French languages have always been one of the important means of recognition of the English vocabulary. The next one is. The aim of the research work to study, to investigate Scandinavian and French borrowings in Shakespeare's work. Objectives: identify borrowings, analyze examples from Romeo and Juliet, and summarize the linguistic impact. Hypothesis: the number of borrowed words from Scandinavian and French languages into the English language is less than borrowings from other languages. So borrowing plays a very important role in the development of the English language. Borrowed words show the level of intercultural communications, and borrowed words from other languages is characteristic of English throughout its history. And more than 2/3 of English vocabulary are borrowings, and mostly they are Romanic origin, like Italian, Spanish, French, and others. Borrowed words are different from native ones by their morphological structure, by their grammatical forms, and by their phonetic structure. It's also characteristic to be non-motivated semantically. It's evident that English history is very rich in different types of contacts with other countries, and that's why it's very rich in borrowings. The Roman invasion, the adoption of Christianity, Scandinavian normal conquest into British Isles, the development of British colonialism and trade, cultural relations served to increase immensely the English vocabulary. The majority of these borrowings is fully assimilated in English in their pronunciation, in their spelling, and can be hardly distinguished from native words. Since the Norman conquest in 1066, the French language became more and more important. The Normans were descendants of the Danes and spoke French influenced by German dialect. They inhabited some parts in the north of France and adapted not only to the language but also to the French culture. They had a talent for building castles, cathedrals, and proved the English their right of military quality. The next one. So borrowings enter the language in two ways. The first one is through oral speech, and the second one is through written speech. And they may be direct or indirect. There are three main types of borrowings. The first one is translation borrowings, the second one is semantic borrowings, and the last one is proper borrowings. The next, Scandinavian borrowings. Scandinavian borrowings in English amount to over 650 words, which denote most common objects, properties, and actions that belong to the basic word stock of modern English. The effect of Danish conquest was the contribution of the many Scandinavian words to the English vocabulary. It's words like the next one is law, husband, fellow, sky, skin, skill, anger, finger, and others. Yes. French borrowings are especially numerous in English. They may be wholly divided into Old, Norman, or Parisian borrowings. And there was almost no end to the French words that continued to pour into English after the 16th century. It's words like you can see that there are the following semantic groups of French borrowings. For example, in French, the word was changed to chat in English. French word reply can change to answer. Adore, smell, annual, early, demand, ask, chamber, rule, desire, wish, power, might, iron, right, or enter. And words related to law and government, it's words like administer, empire, government, country, court, crime. And words related to military affairs, it's words like army, war, butler, soldier. Words related to jury, advocate, petition, inquest, sentence, barrister, and others. It belongs to the tradition of tragic romances, French that want writing. The plot is based on the mentality of French introverts as the tragic history of Romeo and Juliet by Arthur Book in 1562, and we told it was a Palace of Pleasure by William Painter in 1567. And the text of the first part version was of poor quality, however, in later editions corrected the text to conform more closely with Shakespeare's original. And in the practical part, we analyzed that the number of borrowed words from the Scandinavian French languages is less than borrowings from other countries, from other languages. For example, the number of borrowings from French contains 24%, from Scandinavian 12%, and from other countries 66%. And it shows that the number of borrowed words from the Scandinavian French languages is less than borrowings from other languages. In conclusion, I want to say that the number of borrowed words from Scandinavian French languages is less than borrowings from other countries. That's all. Thank you for your attention.
So, what can you say about method of investigation that you use in your research work?
Analyze, comparison, also calculation, and I think that's all.
Can you explain one by one, please? Use one of that presentation.
In analyze part, in the practical part, we analyze that the number of borrowed words less than borrowed from other languages. For example, in French, from French, borrowed words contains 24%, from Scandinavian 12%, and from other languages 66%. So finally, it shows that the number of borrowed words from Scandinavian and French languages is less than borrowings from other languages. In comparison part, it's that the number of borrowed words from Scandinavian and French is less than from other languages.
What do you mean to take these materials for your research work?
I saw one excerpt from social networks, one excerpt from the Romeo and Juliet, and there were words unfamiliar to me, and I asked my teacher what these words mean and what these words were. So she answered me that these words are war words, and I'm interested in it and started to.
So you use only internet networks, yes?
Yeah.
That's about books, journals, other
I
others works.
No, I came to this work by the social networks because I saw one excerpt. But when I investigate this topic, I read the book by Romeo and Juliet, and also I watched the film by Romeo and Juliet.
So please speak about William Shakespeare.
William Shakespeare, he's writer.
In English, he was an English writer, yes. When was he born? The period of his life.
After the
Where was he born? Where? How is it over? Shakespeare.
Шекспир рассказывал.
В первую очередь, когда вы начинаете работать, вы должны знать об авторе все вообще. Шекспир, тем более такой известный. One of the most famous writers, English writers.
Қазақстанда қандай ғалымдар еңбектерін қолданыңыз?
ешқандай.
Неге?
енді шекспирдің сказал және де
Ешкім әлі бұндай материал жоқ па бізде Қазақстанда? Сіз бірінші ашып отырсыз ба қолданып?
жоқ. мен оларды салыстырған жоқпын, тек осы шекспирдің ғана жұмысын.
Айтып. Ал басқа шетелдік қандай ғалымдар еңбектерін қолданыңыз? Егер отандық ғалымдар қолданбасаңыз?
мен тақырып тек осы Уильям Шекспир туралы болғаннан кейін басқа ашылуға болған жоқпын, тек қана осы.
Қалай сіз қолданбайсыз? Еңбектерін анализ жасап отырсыз.
Анализ жасап кезде сіз қолданасыз.
Сонда сіз бұл әр еңбекті салыстырып, өз ойыңызға келесіз. Оқаңыз.
So hi everyone, today I came here with a scientific work of Martin Eden with the famous American author Jack London. The relevance of my scientific work today is that it's very important nowadays because among young people, especially students, a lot of them face inner conflicts that Martin Eden needs. For example, might be questions about finding its own place in society and thinking about who I am, what's my purpose, and what's my destiny. So let's turn to the next page. So the object of my research today is the novel Martin Eden, and the subject of it is literary devices. There are more than 30 of them, but I have taken only 6, namely symbolism, metaphor, irony, imagery, contrasts, and paradox. The aim of my study today is to analyze how these literary devices help us to understand Martin Eden and deepen in a philosophical idea. The hypothesis of this is to analyze Jack London's literary devices and understand how he expresses these literary devices and gives us a deeper philosophical idea. And the novelty of my work is that in a university level of literary studies, we have widely researched all these literary studies. Although in secondary education, we have rarely observed these literary devices combined. So by using these literary devices not separately, but together, we can use it as a unified artistic system, which helps us to understand every piece of information here. The functions of literary devices, there is 4 functions, and the first one is the aesthetic function, which makes the text more beautiful and memorable for the reader. Cognitive functions, it helps to understand abstract things by comparing them things in the real life. Emotional functions influences to the feeling of the reader, such as happiness, emptiness, love, and etc. Philosophical function is to understand the novel properly and to think about deep questions about our destiny and our goals in life. So next frame. Thank you. So as I said, Jack London was a famous American author, but also he has very poor biography since he was a sailor, and since he was a sailor at the beginning, but by struggling by struggling in life, he became very famous after. So there is 6 literary devices, namely metaphor, symbolism, imagery, ironic, contrast, and parallels. And by me analyzing Jack London's novel, I found that a lot of scholars have also analyzed Jack London's novel. For example, the first one is Maxim Gorky from Russia. In 1910, he analyzed images and metaphors in his novel and compared them to the Russian realism. It shows that Jack London's novels is not only for thinking about philosophical ideas, but also compare them with the realism. And also, James Lindquist from USA. James Lindquist from USA highlights the metaphors here of struggle and battle. Yeah, that's it. Next frame. So let's turn to the practical part of metaphors and symbolism. The first one, metaphor. He was a sailor fighting with the storms of his life. Here we can see that it compares Martin with the sailor, that Martin always was struggling and conflicting with the challenges of life to be educated and self-improve. It compares to the sailor who is trying to survive in a sea and fighting the storms of the sea. The second image example is the books were his weapons. Especially books cannot be any weapons, but here we use metaphors to symbolize it that books were his weapons to take every piece of knowledge and information to be self-educated. Analysis of imagery. In imagery, we use 5 sentences, such as taste, auditory, gustatory, and etc. For example, the gray sea, the white sail, and the salt wind in his face. Here is visual and tactile imagery to understand, to influence that feeling that Martin even felt. The second one, the roar of the city filled his ears. After he turned into the city, after being sailor and turning up to the city, the auditory imagery represents that his alienation and confusion in the city because he didn't get used to live here and take information from the city. Ironic contrast paradox in a Martin evening. He dreamed of success, and this success automatically destroyed him. Here we can see situational irony because although he dreamed of success and thought that will make him wealthy person, it automatically destroyed him and bring no happiness but death. The second one is that that every piece of information he took, the more empty he became. It represents that even Martin even tried to be self-educated and tried to improve himself. This self-education break him nothing but destroyed him, since he realized that a lot of wealthy people are mostly selfish and have 2 sides. Yeah. So let's analyze autobiographical part of Jack London. Jack London himself, as I said, was a sailor, and he was a sailor, and also he felt every piece of poverty because he tried to be self-educated, since he realized that educated people are mostly very wealthy and very clean. So he also wants to be there, in this high class, but at the end it destroyed him. And also I would like to mention that CM although Sia represents us the freedom was the only place where Martin Eden could feel himself alive. It also represents danger since at the end when he realized that a lot of wealthy people are very selfish, he turned himself in the sea and died. He became his own grave. So in conclusion, I would like to say that literary devices help us not only to analyze a novel, but also to deeper in a novel and to understand these philosophical ideas and think about very important questions such as who I am, what is being succeed, and how is it being free and educated. And also, I think by searching literary devices, we could enhance it in secondary schools because in secondary school they are rarely observed, and by understanding literary devices, secondary school may also think about important questions in their life and to be prepared for the being adults. Yeah, that's it. Thank you for attention.
Thank you. What are the main stages of the investigation?
The main stages is to analyze literary devices in the novel and to understand how they can influence us and to make us feel about important questions in our life. Since not only in the students but all young people face with the inner conflicts that Martin did, for example, he struggled to be accepted, to find his one place in society, and also to be educated. Martin faced with all these struggles and described in his novel. And I guess by analyzing with literary devices, we can also better understand these questions and find his own answer.
Okay, what stage was difficult for you?
For me, actually, the stage was to think about important questions. Since this work is one of my individual researches, I also not only just deep in a novel, I also think about important questions of it and ask myself, who am I? Why am I living this life? And to find these answers, it was very complicated for me because I didn't know anything about it. And after I read the book of Martin Eden, I realized that I have to live and I have my own personal life.
So literary devices, you divide them into several types, yes?
Yeah.
Can you
So the first one is we talk about when we compare some abstract things to abstract things, and disparate things to make them compare. For example, let's say take an example.
just first of all name please one by one. The first one
Is
the
metaphor.
first type is second type and so on.
The first step is metaphor and symbolism. We use them to compare something. For example, here we compare them. Here was the sailor. Here it compares with the sailor who struggles with the storm to make us understand that Martin struggled to be self-educated and succeed. The second one is imagery. In imagery, we can also it's also very important
So
for us.
we divide it into three types. Yes, figurative, structural, and stylistic.
So figurative part.
Кішкене нақты ғой. Нақтылап,
Yes.
не істей аламыз деген сұраған кезде нақты сұрасам су бермейсің ғой. Нақты жауап беріңізші. Түсінікті ғой, иә? Жауап беріңіз.
So the first one is to make us feel the feelings that Martin feel and to
The
influence
first type figurative, yeah?
figurative.
What does it mean?
Figurative. So from my personal perspective, I believe that figurative function makes us figurative function is compares mostly with abstract things. For example, we use here metaphor and symbolism to make this function.
Second.
Second one, in your mind.
You already
Stylistic work is mostly enhance some items. For example, mostly we use editors to strengthen some
Okay, so I have the last question. Give the definition to the
irony. irony is when we're trying to do something, but in the end it shows the opposite things. For example, here we see situational irony, because he tried to be self-educated, but in the end it brings him no happiness at all, but only emptiness and death. Here is used irony to mention that he tried to be succeed, but at the end it turned into a grave.
So I said that if the definition is a
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. What's on the works of technology?
So the White Fang, Call of the Wild, and Martin.
So thank you.
Do you know any?
So thank you.
Thank you.
Well,
Czy ty się odbywasz z tym głosem?
Wow. So perfect. That's also
okay.
Mamy szkoły, mamy lekcje, a to jedno naciąganie się zostało.
Jest nowy region, a